Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing a book titled A Tale of Two Funerals. Basically, the little summary of the book is um, you have two different directors and how they handle the same funeral, just two different ways. So, first off, I'm Luke. I'm from Michigan, on the East Coast. I've been in the funeral industry for about a year and a half, close to 2 years now, um, and really excited to talk about this book today. And now yep, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm Deja Sorensen. I'm from Iowa. I have been in the funeral service for about half a year now, and I work for a funeral home in Des Moines.
My name is Hannah Everingham. I live in Sioux City and I work at Meyer Brothers Funeral Home. I've been there for about 6 months. Right now I work in the front office doing memorial packages, but
Yeah, me too.
yeah, it's fun.
It is
I've been doing that and I sometimes, for schoolwork, I will go back and embalm.
fun.
I'm a little jealous. I'm just in the prep room.
What?
I'd rather do
Listen,
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
now let me ask you, you guys, would you guys rather be in the prep room, or would you rather, like, I guess, kind of how my interview went to get into the place I am? They asked me, would I rather be in the prep room or rather be on a service? I'm curious to see what your guys' take is on that.
Prep room.
Prep room?
Yeah, 100%.
See, and I'm opposite. I don't really care, but I think that I would work the best with families. I'm a very
Gotcha.
people person.
Good. I looked at my now boss and was like, well, do I have to pick one? And he was like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, I'd rather go on the service. And he goes, well, that was the answer I kind of was looking for, but he gave me the option. So,
That's good.
but
It's fun.
back to what we're going to address here. I believe, Daisy, you're going to do the first part here of the epilogue, correct?
Yep, I can go ahead and do that. So the epilogue of A Tale of Two Funerals, The Third Rug and the Tapestry, kind of, it goes over how each of the funeral directors they handle the situation, and we got all that through that. We read that, and then it comes to Jennifer herself and how she's feeling in the moment. Um, so in Sam Standard's version, she runs into John Knight, who is the owner of the funeral home, as you guys know. And in Sam Sanders' version, she expresses that she's still in shock, she's still in denial, and she had an interaction with a woman who was like, "Oh, I really wish I could have gone to the funeral," and Jennifer was like, "Well, it was public, but nobody knew that," and she shared with John Knight that she really wished that she had been given more options or pushed, in that instance to have a visitation and do a different kind of service. So if I was John and I returned back to the funeral home, I would just tell Sam that um, we might need to reevaluate what we're doing in the future and what options we're giving to our people. Just because, like, leaving someone, death affects everybody in different ways, but leaving someone still in such a heavy denial and, someone having regrets about a service that you provided probably isn't the best. So, I would just definitely tell Sam that we probably need he did a good job with the funeral, but we need to maybe go over if we could have done more. We could have done more to make Jennifer and her brother understand. And then, in Grace's version, she runs into this woman and the woman's like, the funeral was lovely, we had a great time, we sent flowers, we enjoyed where you had it and what you did and all of the different things you did. And Jennifer herself shares with John in Grace's version that she has accepted the death of her mother and has come to realize it's a natural thing. She'll be sad that she's so gone, but she's looking forward to, living the rest of her life and kind of discovering more about herself and everything. And she expresses that Grace was great and she had a great time at the funeral home. So if I returned as John to the funeral home, I would definitely tell Grace that I think she did a great job. And in the book, it goes over how John actually asks Grace to teach the other funeral directors all of the steps that she went through and they had like an unconventional funeral, Grace did, where she had it at the community gardens rather than the church because none of their family is religious. And the family was like, I didn't even know you could do that. And mom loved the garden. So like all of the people who came loved it. And I think the way that John handles it in the book is great, where he tells Grace he'd like her to teach the other people at their weekly staff meeting, like what she did, and maybe like teach isn't the right word, but I would definitely tell Grace that I would like her to share her ideas with like the rest of the group and everything like that. So I think they did a great job on that in the book.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that kind of goes into number two, if you don't mind me talking about that.
Sure thing.
Okay. So when it asks about the transactional with relational, definitely what you were talking about. Sam was way more transactional. He had no emotion with it. It was more like just his everyday job, which it was. But when you're a family coming into a funeral home, you don't do that every day. You're not used to it. It's a pretty big deal. So that kind of sucked that he did that. I mean, he got the job done, but definitely too transactional. The relational, I definitely think that would be Grace just because she actually put emotion into it and she put stuff into the services that, showed meaning. I would say I would prefer Grace as a funeral director, if anything. Sam seems okay, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Sam seems kind of a guy to go point by point, just to, as what we're saying, to get the job done, just to get kind of through it. He's not putting any, it almost seems like effort into it, but also while he's still trying to do his job and do it, the right way. Then you had Grace, that was, very sympathetic with the family and, was explaining everything in detail as you guys both were kind of saying there. Um, so which depends on where you go, and that's going to depend on where in the funeral world nowadays. It's going to depend on obviously where you're going to, what funeral home you're going to attend to get what person you want. Obviously, some people know funeral directors, that if from the past, their past encounters with them, so they can always prefer to have somebody over somebody else. But it's kind of what I kind of get where this book is kind of going, as it's giving you two different perspectives. So um, yeah, so there's some discussion questions throughout the book, through 1 through 12 chapters. We had to pick one, and just talk about it. So I can start with that. So there was one in the first chapter, was why do you want to become a funeral director? Kind of what motivates you to do that? I guess with being in the industry for almost 2 years now and being around it since I've been for my first encounter funeral when I was a kid. My dad took me to work, and I got to see kind of what he did when I was 10 years old. And it was pretty cool. And you got to listen to what he was doing with families and whatnot. And the fact that he wanted to help these families get through a difficult time. And that for me kind of stuck with me. And I've always been one to want to help people, get help people through the grieving obviously now through the grieving process that I didn't know when I was a kid. But now that you grow up a little bit, you kind of see how people grieve. Everybody grieves differently. You can kind of get a little sense of when somebody's grieving in arrangements, as they arrangement conferences, as they kind of did in the book a little bit. So my biggest thing that motivates me is to be able to, I don't want to say sound cliche, but to help them. I know a lot of that's kind of not a lot of, I had a class that was we had to do something that not we didn't have to, I guess we had to pick something else other than helping people, other than the standard thing that why maybe we all went through this.
Which, what
So
I say as someone that also in the funeral, I don't think that's a great thing for them to teach us. It
well,
has to
right.
be another reason.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
right.
get what you
Because
mean.
I've had other professors too be like, that's not a reason to be in this profession. And I'm like, that's my
It's
reason.
well, and it goes to the point. It's like, what else are we in this for?
Well,
Like
what were they
we're
looking for? Like when people ask that
uh
question, seriously, what do they want?
I yeah, it was bold. It said, do not say I just want to help people. And I think that was them trying to spark a discussion between, obviously students nowadays. But yeah, that was kind of my story. Just kind of wanting to do it ever since I was a kid, and now getting the chance to do it. So
I think that's a great story for you to share, I got into this funeral business because I want to help people. Like, for me, it's not just about the deceased. I kind of share the same views as Grace, where it's definitely like all about the family and about helping them get over it. And sorry, get over is a harsh term. Helping them come to terms with and just helping family. I've had a lot of death in the family. Just like seeing the way they work that, but the question that I chose was after the epilogue, before the final word. It says, "Do you think more funeral directors need to be like Grace? Why or why not?" I do. I really do. I think all funeral directors should be like Grace. I think the only people who should be like Sam are probably the owners of the funeral home who like are worried about business. From the start, the way that Grace answers the door, the way she's like, "We're here to, we're here to greet you and your mother, we're here to talk to you and your mom," like going up and saying hello to the mom, asking, using present tense when speaking about the mother, like noticing that the mom is in the photo with dahlias and everything like that. Just like all the little details. And during the arrangement conference, Grace just being like, "So we actually do these things and everything, and obviously it's celebrating the deceased, but this is also event, I would say, like an event or an occurrence in which we want to help the family be able to understand." And she gets through to like Jennifer's rough and tough brother, who ends up in the end of Grace's story being, in touch with the fact that his mother has passed, and he's very much so more open to his sister Jennifer and talking to her about it. And Jennifer, even in the ending, being so much happier and so much more like she's accepted that her mom is dead, and like she's still grieving, but she's doing okay. And the end of Grace's story rather than Sam's, and just because Jennifer's like she's happier in that story, and Grace is just a great funeral director for all these things that she suggests. Finding out that she likes to garden, she likes to bowl, um, and she used to be a
side note,
teacher.
side note,
Mhm.
did just bowl a 300 on Monday. Side note there.
That
Okay, is that
that
good?
is something to be proud of.
That's the best you could do in bowling.
Did you get a strike on every time?
Yep, that's 12 straight strikes.
That's awesome.
It was
Jesus.
wild. It was pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Anyways, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're totally fine. Interrupt whenever. Just like all these things, like finding out that she taught at the school, and like in the like in Sam's what is it, obituary that he writes, um he is just very like baseline, very cookie cutter. And then Grace took the time to write an obituary in which it featured the fact that she was an avid gardener, she worked at the school, she like loved to help out, and everybody just had so much better time and also like acceptance of the death, like with Grace's. So I do really think that more film directors should be like Grace.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was a good explanation.
That was.
I
Yeah, go
just,
ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to explain how I got into funeral service. That was the discussion post. Um, so I ended up getting into funeral service because I'm a CNA and I was going to school. I was in pre-med and I was working as a CNA, to pay for it. And a lot of people would pass away. So I was never bothered by that kind of stuff. And I would help clean them up for when the removal techs would come. And I ended up being friends with removal techs and random funeral directors in the area. And I ended up really, really liking the idea of it. And ever since then, it kind of snowballed into me dropping out of pre med and going to mortuary school.
Nice.
Good for you. I used to be a CNA.
It's terrible. I just, like last week, it was my last week of being a CNA ever. It was
Yeah,
weird.
I quit after my first year.
Yeah,
The abuse that you get from I couldn't do it.
I've done it since I was 16. And yeah, I just quit so I didn't have to have two jobs anymore. But yeah, doing that and funeral business at the same time, it was quite stressful.
Sure sounds
Yeah,
like it.
I agree. Have you ever been a CNA, Luke, or worked in a hospital?
No, I've only done removals from hospitals. So,
Unfortunately, in my experience, anybody who is even slightly above your pay grade treats you like an ant. The
yeah.
people there are angry about being there or angry
Mm-hmm.
about not being able to take care of themselves, so they're angry at you because they've seen you
Right.
the most.
Yep.
Right.
So it's just a lot of anger. The families are angry because have protocols and blah blah blah. So absolutely not. I quit real quick.
Well,
Um,
um, after all this lovely discussion we've had, out of everything you've learned from this book, what will you take away from it as a funeral director?
Do you want to start, Luke?
no, go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay, so using my own experiences.
Oh no.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Did she lag
Can
out?
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
you hear me now?
yes, now we can. We're good. Go ahead, restart.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's
You're
okay.
fine.
Oh, it says my internet's going out.
Oh, that's
Okay,
not good.
give me just a second. Okay, I think I fixed it. I think my roommate just got home, that's why.
Ah,
Um, sorry, you guys. Okay, so using my own experiences in the funeral industry and everything like that, and wanting or thinking that I would be a really good arranging director myself, I'm just gonna take Grace's examples of being able to, you don't have to have a funeral in the church every time. You don't have to have it at the funeral home. Like it can be a non-secular service in a place that meant something to the people, and just making sure to give people options, making sure to over explain always before under explaining. It's better to cover every facet of what you're doing than not cover enough. And I just think I'm gonna take that, with me and keep that for throughout this book. So
good. Nice. I love it. Hannah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, personally, I will take it as no one wants to be the lesser or the greater of two evils. So, when you think about it, some days you're going to want to rush through these services and rush through the even arrangement process and doing like pre-need everything because your day sucks. But when you really think about it, do you want to be a Sam? I mean, like we're three college students assessing how terrible he did and how
And
bad
he
it
had 30
was.
years of experience. That's what they said.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't want to leave that legacy of me as a funeral director.
Right.
So I will definitely take that with me.
Nice. Um, so from what I'm gonna take, I kind of do I like some points that Sam had? Sure, but do I and I also like some points from Grace. So it's more like, you're gonna give everything that Grace gave to him while also kind of keeping things on a schedule, which I'm kind of like I've been in the arrangement room a couple times, and it's more like you want to move things along, but you also want to give them the time they need to discuss these things with you. And from being the professional that we are all going to be, it'll be like it's almost like a learning experience to see point by point of him going through everything, other than her kind of slowing everything down and kind of explaining it. When I like to get in the arrangement room, I like to kind of explain everything that I'm going to do. Then I'm gonna kind of go through it kind of slowly step by step with them. So I kind of like both of their I guess beliefs that they had in the book. Um, but I think that about wraps it up for us. Um, appreciate everybody coming out and listening to us, and we hope you have a fantastic day.